Have you ever wondered why some days your body hums with life, and others, it feels like the switch has flipped off? It's not just in your head. Deep inside your cells, your hormones, even your breath, there's a language your body uses to communicate energy and desire. Most of us were never taught how to listen. We wake up drained, push harder, and call it normal. But what if the real problem isn't exhaustion? It's disconnection. What if your body isn't broken? It's just waiting for you to tune back in. In this episode, we're going beyond surface level fixes. I'll show you 3 simple ways to reset your energy, to bring your system back into balance using the same biological principles that govern strength, focus, and intimacy. Because when your energy flows freely, everything shifts. Your confidence, your mood, even the way you experience touch and presence. The first reset begins where most people forget to look, inside the body's most ancient conversation, the one between sensation and safety. Think about the last time you felt truly at ease in your own skin. Maybe it was a quiet morning when sunlight touched your face, or the warmth of someone's hand lingering just a little longer than usual. In that moment, something subtle happens. Your brain releases oxytocin. Your heart rate steadies, and your body begins to whisper, "You're safe here." This is the foundation of energy, not caffeine, not motivation, but safety. Because without safety, the body can't open. It can't create or connect or even feel pleasure in its simplest form. In neuroscience, they call this the parasympathetic response, the state where the body finally exhales. Blood flows back to the organs, the immune system switches on, and your cells start producing the very energy molecules that make you feel alive. But for many of us, that system is stuck. We live in constant alert. Notifications, deadlines, arguments that never end. And the body, unable to tell the difference between a tiger and a text message, keeps flooding us with adrenaline. Over time, we forget what calm even feels like. We confuse numbness for peace, busyness for purpose, and tension for drive. That's why the first reset isn't about doing more. It's about coming home. It's about remembering that your nervous system, the quiet electrical web that runs through every cell, is the key to your vitality. You can see it in animals. Watch a cat stretch in the sun or a lion pause before the hunt. Every movement is deliberate, sensual, present. There's no shame in how they occupy their bodies. They belong there. Humans somewhere along the way lost that ease. We learned to fragment ourselves. Mind over body, logic over feeling. We began to treat desire as something to manage instead of something to understand. And that separation is what drains us most. Because erotic energy isn't just about sex. It's about the current that runs through all creative life. The drive that makes you reach for someone, or paint, or dance, or build something that matters. It's the pulse of being alive and wanting. When this current is blocked, we start to feel small. Our days flatten out. We look for stimulation instead of nourishment. We chase pleasure through distraction instead of connection. But when we begin to reconnect, when we touch, breathe, and allow, something changes. The brain starts to synchronize with the body. Neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin rise, but so does oxytocin, the hormone of trust and bonding. And beneath it all, the vagus nerve, that long thread connecting the brain to the heart, lungs, and gut, begins to hum again. This isn't magic. It's biology remembering itself. You can feel it in something as simple as a slow, intentional breath. When you inhale deeply, you send a signal to your nervous system. I'm safe. When you exhale fully, you tell it, I can let go. Each breath becomes a bridge back to your energy source. Imagine this, you wake up one morning not racing for your phone, but noticing the texture of the sheets against your skin, the rhythm of your breath before you move. In that small pause, your body begins to recharge. The adrenal system relaxes, cortisol drops, and your cells begin producing ATP, the energy currency of life. That's the real recharge, the one no supplement can imitate. From this place, something remarkable happens. The senses sharpen. Food tastes richer. Colors seem deeper. Conversations feel more real. And with that sensory awakening comes a kind of emotional clarity. You begin to notice what truly draws you in. Not from habit, but from instinct. That instinct is your second reset, the return of emotional connection. For years, science treated emotion as something secondary, almost inconvenient. But recent research tells another story. Your emotional world is the most powerful regulator of your biology. When you experience genuine intimacy, whether through a loving gaze, a conversation that moves you, or the steady rhythm of another person's breath next to yours, your brain begins to mirror theirs. It's called neural resonance. Mirror neurons fire. Oxytocin surges, and your stress chemistry recalibrates. You literally start to feel safer, more alive, in the presence of connection. This is why loneliness drains energy more than physical exhaustion ever could. The body interprets isolation as danger, a primal warning that you are unprotected. And yet, emotional connection is not only about romance. It's about attunement, the quiet recognition between two living beings that says, I see you. I'm with you. You can witness it in the way friends laugh in sync, or how a parent instinctively rocks a child to the rhythm of their heartbeat. These are not random gestures. They are micro adjustments guided by millions of years of evolution. Each act of attunement rebalances the nervous system. Each small moment of shared presence restores energy that isolation depletes. Desire, too, begins in this space of safety and attunement. It's not a spark that appears out of nowhere. It's a signal that your body trusts enough to open again. When attraction awakens, it's not just hormones rushing through your blood. It's the body's way of saying, life wants to move through you. This is where the third reset quietly begins, the union of curiosity and surrender. We often think of attraction as something we control or explain. But at its core, it's mystery. A dance between biology and psychology, between what we know and what we long to feel. In the early stages of attraction, the brain lights up in the same regions that activate during hunger and motivation. Dopamine surges, sharpening focus and amplifying anticipation. That's why a new connection feels electric. Your brain is rewarding you for paying attention. But something deeper happens when attraction matures. Once the rush settles, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that governs empathy, trust, and self-reflection, steps in. You start to see the other not as fantasy, but as reality. The dance between excitement and safety deepens into intimacy. This is the energy that truly restores us, the slow burn of presence, not the quick spark of novelty. Because sustainable desire isn't about constant intensity. It's about continual discovery. The body thrives on rhythm, not chaos. On the gentle oscillation between arousal and rest, closeness and space, excitement and calm. When this rhythm is honored, hormones align accordingly. Testosterone, estrogen, and oxytocin find balance, supporting not just sexual health, but mood, focus, and even immune strength. Studies show that people in emotionally safe and physically affectionate relationships have lower inflammation markers, faster healing times, and longer lifespans. But beyond the science, it's something simpler, a felt sense of vitality that radiates from within. When you touch with intention, when you listen without judgment, when you breathe in sync with someone you trust, you're not just sharing time, you're exchanging energy. It's the same current that fuels creativity, motivation, and meaning. It's why artists talk about passion and scientists describe curiosity with the same language. Both are forms of desire-seeking expression. To reset your energy, then, is to reclaim this current. It's to remember that your aliveness is not a luxury, but a signal of alignment. And alignment begins small, in how you move, how you breathe, how you allow sensation to return to your skin after years of tension. It begins in how you meet yourself each morning, not with judgment, but with awareness. So as you listen, perhaps even now, take a moment to feel your own pulse. Notice the warmth in your hands, the subtle hum of being alive. This, right here, is where your energy lives. It was never gone, only buried beneath noise and numbness. The truth is, resetting your energy isn't about chasing high vibrations or escaping your humanity. It's about embracing it, fully, curiously, courageously. Because the more you inhabit your own body, the more the world begins to respond. Conversations feel richer. Creativity flows easier. Relationships deepen. Not because you've learned new tricks, but because your presence has weight again. Presence is magnetic. It's what pulls people in without a word. What turns an ordinary moment into something unforgettable? And maybe that's the real secret of erotic health. Not the act itself, but the awareness it demands. To feel deeply, to connect authentically, to stay awake in the quiet symphony of your own biology. It begins quietly, a hand brushing another, the weight of an embrace that lingers half a second longer than usual. A laugh shared, spontaneous and real. In those moments, something ancient stirs, the language of the body remembering itself. The body doesn't speak in words. It speaks in chemicals, in pulses, in microcurrents of warmth that move beneath the skin. When you connect with someone, truly connect, your brain begins releasing oxytocin, the hormone often called the molecule of love. But that name hardly captures what it really does. Oxytocin isn't just about affection or bonding. It's the key that unlocks the body's trust mechanism. It lowers stress hormones, slows the heartbeat, relaxes muscle tension. It signals safety. And in that safety, the body begins to bloom. You can feel it when someone looks at you with kindness, when their tone softens, when your nervous system picks up that you're not being judged or threatened. The muscles in your face relax, your breathing deepens. It's as if your cells collectively sigh. That sigh is your body's quiet way of saying, I can rest now. Love, in its biological truth, is not fireworks. It's regulation. It's the synchronizing of two nervous systems that agree, without a word, that the world is safe enough to be open. In that openness, energy starts to flow differently. Blood vessels dilate, oxygen moves freely. Your brain lights up in regions tied to learning and memory. That's why people in love seem more curious, more creative, more alive. Their chemistry has shifted from defense to expansion. It's fascinating. When two people hold hands, tiny electrical signals align between their palms. Skin temperature rises, heart rhythms synchronize. Even pain thresholds can change. Studies have shown that the simple act of being gently held by someone you trust can reduce physical pain more effectively than many medications. That's not metaphor. That's measurable physiology. And it's in this space, where chemistry meets emotion, that true energy renewal happens. Because energy isn't only about mitochondria or ATP or what you eat. It's about flow, about how freely your body's communication systems can operate. And love, in all its forms, is the great conductor. Dopamine, the brain's motivation molecule, works alongside oxytocin like light and shadow. When you anticipate connection, a message from someone you care about, the warmth of shared laughter, dopamine rises, guiding your attention toward reward. But if dopamine is the spark, oxytocin is the anchor. Together, they create the rhythm of attachment. Excitement met with safety, passion tempered with peace. This rhythm is what keeps us balanced. Too much dopamine without oxytocin leads to restlessness, addiction to stimulation, the endless chase for something more. But too much oxytocin without dopamine can turn stillness into stagnation. The body thrives on the interplay, the dance between longing and belonging. This is why healthy intimacy feels so nourishing. It's not just emotional, it's metabolic. When we feel loved, our immune cells function better, inflammation drops, wounds heal faster. The brain releases endorphins, natural opioids that dull pain and heighten pleasure. Even digestion improves because the gut, that second brain filled with millions of neurons, relaxes when we're emotionally safe. Our entire physiology is built to respond to connection. And yet, so often, we move through the world armored. We scroll instead of touch, we perform instead of feel, we speak without listening. The body registers this distance. It feels the absence of presence. And slowly it begins to tighten, protect, withdraw. But healing is never far. It begins in micro moments. Eye contact that lingers, a genuine breath shared in the same rhythm, a simple act of gratitude. These are small, but their chemical impact is immense. Each act of presence releases a little more oxytocin, quiets a little more cortisol, softens the walls we didn't realize we'd built. Imagine sitting across from someone you trust, maybe a partner, maybe a close friend. You're not talking about anything important. You're just there. And suddenly, without realizing it, your bodies sync. Your breathing matches. The muscles around your eyes mirror one another. It's a silent duet of nervous systems co-regulating. In that moment, your body begins to heal in ways no medicine could ever replicate. This is the essence of erotic health, not something purely physical, but something profoundly human. It's the ability to feel, to connect, to let the body participate in life without fear. It's the recognition that pleasure and peace are not opposites, but partners in the same dance. Erotic energy at its core is life energy, the same current that powers growth, creation, and transformation. It's what allows us to fall in love, to create art, to pursue meaning. When we deny it or suppress it, the body begins to lose vitality. When we honor it, gently, consciously, without shame, we unlock the natural intelligence of our biology. And perhaps that's the most beautiful truth of all, that desire is not the enemy of discipline, nor is tenderness the opposite of strength. They're both expressions of energy, one expansive, one grounding, and both necessary for wholeness. The great paradox is that the more we allow ourselves to feel, the more stable we become. The more we embrace vulnerability, the stronger the body's chemistry of resilience grows. When you allow yourself to be touched, emotionally or physically, and remain open, the nervous system learns that connection does not mean danger. It learns trust, and trust changes everything. Because trust lowers cortisol, allowing your immune system to do its work unhindered. It balances reproductive hormones, supporting not just intimacy, but longevity. It regulates appetite, blood pressure, even sleep patterns. The science of love, in its simplest form, is the science of balance. When you strip away the poetry, what remains is biology learning harmony. But when you bring the poetry back, when you live it, biology becomes music. So much of modern life teaches us to rush past the body, to think of touch as indulgent, to treat emotion as weakness. But every system within you, your brain, your heart, your gut, is wired for relationship. You are, at the deepest level, a social organism. Isolation starves you, connection feeds you. That's why energy cannot be reset through isolation alone. Rest helps, yes. Stillness helps. But renewal happens when the heart opens. When you let someone see you, when you see them, when you recognize that beneath all the stories and defenses, we are wired for the same thing. Closeness. Even a single act of kindness can ripple through the chemistry of your body. One warm conversation can shift serotonin levels, improving mood for hours. Laughter releases nitric oxide, expanding blood vessels and reducing blood pressure. The simple joy of shared humanity has measurable effects on your lifespan. You could say love is the most efficient biohacker ever created. It adjusts your hormones, rewires your brain, resets your energy, and all without a single pill. But love, in its truest form, isn't only something you receive. It's something you generate. The same oxytocin surge that happens when you're touched by another can also be activated through self-compassion, through breath work, through mindful awareness of your own body. Try this. Place your hand over your heart. Feel its steady rhythm. Notice how your body subtly responds to your own touch, the warmth, the grounding. Your nervous system doesn't know whether another person is holding you or you're holding yourself. What matters is the signal: I am safe. I am home. This is the ultimate reset, not the search for external energy, but the return to internal connection. The realization that the body is not separate from the mind, that every emotion has a chemical echo, and every thought has a physical consequence. When you speak kindly to yourself, cortisol drops. When you imagine a peaceful scene, The parasympathetic system activates as if it were real. The line between thought and body is not a wall. It's a mirror. What you feel reflects what you believe, and what you believe shapes how you feel. It's humbling, isn't it? That the same body that flinches at pain also knows how to open to love. That the same heart that races in fear can also expand in awe. And maybe that's where this story truly ends, not with a formula or a fix, but with a remembering. That resetting your energy is not about chasing something new. It's about peeling back what's false until what's real can breathe again. You are not broken. You are electric. You are biology and emotion and mystery intertwined. And every pulse, every sigh, every quiet moment of connection is proof that you are alive. Gloriously, vulnerably human. The camera pans slowly now, soft light, maybe a sunrise. The world feels wider, quieter. The narrator's voice softens to a near whisper. Your body was never the enemy. It was the messenger, carrying stories of where you've been and possibilities of where you might go next. When you listen, really listen, you can hear it. The rhythm beneath thought, the current beneath stillness. It's there when you hold someone, when you breathe deeply, when you allow yourself to feel everything without running from it. That's where true vitality lives. Not in control, but in connection. And maybe that's the secret we've been missing all along. That to reset your energy. To truly reset it. You don't need to change who you are. You just need to remember how to be here. Pause. The music swells soft and luminous because the body remembers. The heart always knows. And when you trust, that energy returns like light breaking through a forest canopy. Slow at first, then everywhere.